Gordon was resting in the siding. It was a hot day and the express had been heavy. "I get so out of breath," he complained, "but nobody cares. They say I will be all right after a rest." Just then, Thomas rattled in. He was in his cheeky mood. "Get Sir Topham Hatt to give you tanks and a bunker," suggested Thomas cheekily. "You feel a new engine. We tank engines never get out of breath, you know." Perhaps it was lucky for Thomas that poor Gordon didn't have the energy to reply. The men worked hard on Gordon, but they couldn't make him better. "You need new tubes, Gordon," they said. "You have to go to the works to have them fitted." While Gordon was being mended, Henry pulled the express. But the next day, just before Gordon was due back, Henry was ill too. "We have no spare engine except Thomas," the inspector told Sir Topham Hatt, "but he can't pull the train on his own." "Could Percy help?" asked Sir Topham Hatt. The inspector shook his head. "Two of them with Neil might manage. It's only as far as the works." So the three engines were coupled together. Percy was in front of the coaches, with Neil in the middle, and Thomas in the front. Then they started off. Come on, puffed Percy importantly. We're doing it, puffed Neil. Pull harder, called Thomas. And soon, the heavy train drew out of the platform. The engines couldn't go as fast as Gordon, but the passengers didn't mind. They knew that Percy, Thomas, and Neil were doing their best. Expresses were not like branch line trains. They don't stop at all the stations, but the engines didn't have their chance to get their breath back. "Let's get a good run," Thomas said importantly. "Yes," Neil said exhaustedly. "Let's." Soon the three began to feel tired. They struggled violently up Gordon's Hill, but the strain was beginning to tell. "I'm glad we didn't stick there," thought Thomas. "Gordon would never let us hear the last of it." But the hill proved too much for Percy. The driver blew the whistle and stopped the train. "We can't take you off, Percy," said his driver. "Do the best you can to keep the brakes off. It's not far now." This made things harder for the other two, but they struggled bravely on. We're nearly there, puffed Thomas and Neil together. They made a last brave effort, but they had no steam left to say anything. Poor Percy found that he was so exhausted. They were passing the works when Neil found he could go no further, and the three engines came to a standstill. And there, watching from the work siding, stood Gordon. Sir Topham Hatt, who had been on the train, was very proud of them. "You did very well," he said, "for pulling the express for Gordon, and now you deserve a rest." So Thomas, Neil, and Percy were uncoupled together, and Edward the Blue Engine had took their place. As the tank engines moved wearily away, Gordon looked at Thomas and smiled. Then he took 3 deep breaths and winked. He didn't need to say anything. Thomas knew exactly what he meant.